Hello everyone and welcome to Vidane TV's coverage of the SIM500 Esports Racing League, brought to you by Transervice Transportation and Logistics Solutions. We're at Richmond, Virginia tonight, race 29 of the season, and more importantly, last race for the round of 16. Kevin England here, along with Paul Showtime Strickland Jr. Pulling double duty tonight. He is down in the booth and commentating. Paul, final chance.
Yeah, Kevin, final chance for these drivers to get into the round of 12 here. Daniel Falkingham already locked himself in by winning the first two races of this round at Darlington and Richmond last week. And I guess virtual jet lag hitting Kevin pretty hard at Bristol Motor Speedway here tonight. Same state, different racetrack. Saw a great race here on Vidane TV last week with the Multi-League Cup Series, and an awesome Cup race and Xfinity race here with the big dogs, as it were, in the NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity Series. Looking forward to 200 laps here tonight, Bristol Motor Speedway. Daniel Falkingham going to be starting up front on the pole, and you'll be able to see the starting lineup across the top of your screen there, going a little old school here with our timing and scoring here tonight. But once these drivers cross the start-finish line, you'll see where your favorite driver is starting and running in this race. And there you see the 39 car of Daniel Falkingham. Winner of the last two races, pole sitter here tonight. Going to be a fast car tonight here at Bristol.
Yeah, this racetrack going to be an interesting racetrack. So tight, both on the racetrack and pit road, and there's a couple drivers that have a lot at stake tonight.
100%. Daniel Falkingham, being that he is the pole sitter tonight, has that very first pit stall at the end of pit road, and we're going to see that play into factor in a big, big way for both green flag pit stops and yellow flag pit stops. Stops under caution here at the half mile, the last great Coliseum here, and it's going to be an awesome race here tonight. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm sure some of these drivers are nervous, and I also heard drivers talking about whether or not they were in that chase, and they really don't want to have an impact on this as they're pulling on to the racetrack. Those drivers know what's at stake. A lot of these drivers have raced all season long. They want to be respectful to the top 12, top 16, and we're about to get this thing underway.
And you'll be able to follow along at home with those yellow banners across the tops of the windshields and across the back spoilers of these Cup cars All those drivers sporting those yellow colors are the drivers that are right now currently within that top 16, trying to make it within that top 12. And we made mention Daniel Fockingham, the only driver to lock himself in by winning the past 2 races. And he's going to try and win here tonight, take a trifecta. It's not going to carry over to next week. We're starting a new round, but the momentum is everything here in the Transervice Cup Series.
Fockingham, Gilliland, Williams, King, they're all pretty much assured to get in. They're good on points. It's Ryan, Comstock, O'Rourke, and Kelly that are biting the bullet here tonight. Ryan and Comstock, -2, -3. They need good finishes to get into this chase as field cycles around. We're going to get ready for 200 laps of action here at the First and Great Coliseum. These guys, they know how tough this racetrack is. I'm sure they're going to want to get single file right off the bat. Green flag waves, and they head to turn 1 for the first time. It's Fockingham on the high side leading the way.
Already taking a quick peek there at 3 wide action up towards the front. They sort it back out 2 by 2 all the way through. Daniel Fockingham breaking away now by 6 or 7 car lengths over Brian Macklin. Brian Macklin needs a good run. He's had that win back at Daytona, start of the season, but a lackluster season throughout. And you can see Brian Boris Cook in the 06-3 part-time schedule running in the 3rd position right now. And that's what Daniel Fockingham's looking at out the front of his windshield. Clean air for the time being.
Side by side for that 3rd position. Gilliland on the bottom trying to get it wound up. Hard to do from down there. You want to let the car roll up to the outside fence to get as much as you can. He still has Boris Cook to the outside. He's going to save that right front tire and ease back a little bit too early to give it a challenge. As out front, Daniel Fockingham leads the way here. We're working lap number 4 at Bristol.
And already you can kind of see that high line starting to come in. Most of the drivers trying to shift their way up towards that top side, up towards the wall. One of the faster ways around the racetrack, but we did make mention last Thursday night with the Multi-League Cup Series drivers with the new build here in iRacing. It burns up that right rear tire quite a bit more running on that high side. So you'll see that early on in the run here, Kevin, but I think these drivers eventually are going to start moving on down towards the bottom where Daniel Fockingham was.
Yeah, Fockingham has it the best where he could drive in, let the car go where it wants, drive off the corner, and he just has all the racetrack to use. As Trey Edson loose off of turn number 4 there, gets it gathered up. These cars wiggle, squirt, move around quite a bit on this concrete surface. Out in front, though, Fockingham starting to see a little bit of a challenge. Boris Cook looks to his outside.
Boris Cook in the Bitcoin machine at Camry trying to make something happen there on the high side. Not quite enough to get him just yet, and he knows that with these fresh tires on these cars right now, this is the best opportunity he's going to have to try and get around Daniel Fockingham as he's fast on old tires, 2 tires, no tires. Heck, you could probably put 1 tire on that 39 car. He'd still manage to drive it okay.
First battle on the racetrack, back for 10th position. Kevin King wants it. On the inside is Mike Montesi in the kick-ass beef jerky, number 45, still hanging on to that. Side by side, here comes Jose Gonzalez into the mix. Byron Daly looking at the opportunities right behind him as first scrap 4 competition. Boris Cook continues to run the outside line from that 2nd position, but Daniel Fockingham is leading the way now. Montesi slips back a little bit, yields that position to both King and the 26 of Gonzalez. And he's going to lose one to Byron Daly. That car not to his liking down low there. He needs to get up in that outside groove and get that car sorted down.
And you can see that high line really working in. Byron Daly has the momentum to try and get around him here. Looks like he'll have him in 1 and 2. And he's got Doyle Woods and Joshua Williams right in behind him as well. So lined up on the outside, trying to get around Mike Montesi here. You can see it. The bottom side, it kind of sort of holds on just a little bit, but as we get further on in the run, the two lines start to kind of come closer together as far as competition-wise. But right now, this early on in the run, Mike Montesi losing spots down in the bottom.
One thing about this racetrack, laps quick. They just click off, boom, boom, boom. And you get somewhat disoriented. Really what these drivers are trying to do in this early going is find that pattern on the throttle, cruise into the corner, off the throttle, pick up the throttle, clip the apron, drive off the apron, whatever you're going to do to find that rhythm and get yourself into lap times. You start looking at the car in front of you and you don't bother to look behind you at all. You're just trying to find lap speed, lap after lap after lap. It's it's so nerve-wracking sometimes to run this racetrack.
Yeah, it's a big-time momentum track. And speaking of momentum, Chad Coleman up in the top 5 currently, holding on to that 5th position. He's got Trey Edson right in behind him, and Brian Macklin up in front. And Chad still had a great run last week, trying to hold on to his championship hopes, up in the top 12 currently. And he's going to hold on to it as long as he can. Having a great run here. Currently running in the 5th position, 18 laps in.
Side-by-side battle for that 6th position. It is the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke. He's got Kevin Brown looking down underneath. Kevin took a peek, unable to get it. He gets a good run into the corner, through the center of the corner, but the momentum carries E.J. O'Rourke off to the high side out front. It continues to be Daniel Falkingham, but right behind him is now Adam Gilliland, quarter car length off his back bumper.
And the old Giller fast wherever he goes. He's been very fast here in the short track stints we've had. Darlington, Richmond, the past 2 races here. Relatively good finishes for the old Giller, and it looks like he's having a good run here tonight at Bristol. Working lap number 21, you can see the drivers are starting to kind of single file themselves out a little bit, do a little bit of the conveyor belt action, as we've seen from time and time again. But don't think that's going to drop the action one bit. Action all the way around this racetrack, and especially when this leader, Daniel Falkingham, starts coming up on lap traffic. It's not to say anything about the lap traffic, just that 39 car. Bad fast here at Bristol tonight.
200 laps of distance. The drivers have 4 sets of tires, including the ones they started on, so we don't anticipate that they're going to run the full fuel run. They're going to need tires at some point, but it's hard to say. Some drivers could play some different strategies. Time, a second, 2 seconds, sometimes even 3 seconds a lap drop as we have the first caution of the speedway.
Caution flag is out. We're going to take a peek here to see exactly what happened across the racetrack. I'm not seeing anybody pointed in the wrong direction here, but we'll pull up the Kong Beer Bog instant replay, kind of sort through the tapes just a bit, see if we can find where the smoke is.
James Stewart in the 78 having problems down there on the front stretch, it appears.
That's going to be the 78 car, so we'll pull up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, take a quick little look and see what happened here. And you got to figure it's a tough little racetrack, and drivers sometimes struggle with the handling of the race cars. We'll take a peek here. Going to focus in on that 78 car back in behind here. Matthew Karakoff in the 00, make a little bit of contact, and almost like the finish of the Xfinity race there that we saw this past weekend. Very, very similar, but the 78 car sliding in ever so slightly, touching the nose of that car to the inside safer barrier. Doesn't look like the damage is too extensive, but he's going to come out. Looks like he may very well lose a lap here. The 00, Matthew Karakoff going 2 laps down, but no damage on the front of that car. He can hope for a green, or hope for a wave around later on in the race, and potentially get himself back on the lead lap. So a tough break early on for the 78 car, but plenty of time to try and make that up.
Yeah, a little early for pit stops for tires, but we are going to see some drivers going in, including championship hopeful Tommy Ryan. You're going to enter on the entryway of turn number 2, drive all the way around and exit on the conventional exit of turn number 1. You see Tommy Ryan going in, and he is going to take tires, right side tires going on. Now they'll come around, work the left side of the Snap Mobile Shop Camaro number 99. 4 tires and fuel for the 99. I think the 45 is getting a little damage finished. We see Wetzel down there on the 9. You see the 2 of Mike Kelly down for service, and a couple others, as we did see a handful of cars come down pit road on this caution lap 23.
Giving some of the drivers about mid-pack on back an opportunity to come down, work on the cars a little bit, maybe take 2 tires, 4 tires, save something for a little bit later on in the race, but try and make up a little bit of ground here on these leaders right now. You made mention, Kevin, 4 sets of tires here at Bristol for these Transervice Cup Series drivers. And everybody up front, they're not thinking about tires just yet. It's almost just shy of 30 laps on this caution laps, these caution laps rather. Going to give these drivers an opportunity to kind of cool the tires off, regroup a little bit, maybe get in on the team radio, see how everybody else's cars are handling, and kind of plan out the rest of the race here. I think we're going to end up seeing some of these drivers potentially come down every 50 to 60 laps or so, maybe even some stretching it out to 75. But it all depends on how the race plays out. Again, a lot of short tracks over the past couple of weeks here on a Verdane TV, and we've had a lot of different tire strategies, fuel strategies. You name it, we've seen it happen, and it doesn't mean that we haven't seen it all before. These Transervice Cup Series drivers, some of the best in sim racing, and we're getting ready to go green one more time.
Restacking the field out front, Daniel Falkingham, Adam Gilliland, Brian Macklin, Brian Boris Cook, Chad Coleman are your top 5. They got that first one under their belt, Paul. They're going to kind of settle in now. They know what the car is going to give them. Maybe they got a little bit of tire wear. This is at this stage around lap to mind their tire wear at this juncture.
And green flag back in the air. Daniel Falkingham getting the exact restart that he needs. You can see 3 or 4 car lengths now already over Adam Gilliland, another championship hopeful, trying to hold on to that top 12 position. And you can see side by side now for third. They think better of it, tucked back in behind him. Single file for the top 5 or 6 cars.
He's down on the apron, but now back on the racetrack.
Daniel Falkingham still out front here. More laps led all evening long than anybody else. 33 laps in the book so far. They all belong to that number 39 car. You can see Adam Gilliland keeping right up in his tire tracks and right close to the back bumper. Not quite there. Now you can see the battle for third starting to heat up once again. Brian Macklin moving into third again. Brian Boris Cook in that 63 Bitcoin machine. Tries to come down just a little bit. Trey Edson is there in the 5 car. They think better of it. They keep everything pointed in the right direction. They're side by side now for fourth.
Yeah, up front, Adam Gilliland giving chase to Daniel Falkingham. Falkingham appears to be driving off a little bit from the field right now. He's got a good mount, clean air out in front of him. Falkingham is leading the way with Gilliland following in the fire tracks. The third and fourth place cars, those two have settled in, completed that battle, and Trey Edson continues to stalk in that 5th position.
And everybody up towards the front holding their line right now, single file. You can see there's a little bit of a battle here between the 33 and the 29. The 33 of Byron Daly, the Kevin King driver of the number 29. King drops back just a little bit, tucks in behind the 33 car. They're going to go around David Comstock in the 13 up around the high side.
Josh Williams in the 95 sitting there solidly in the points for this championship, following King through the field. He's in that high line running in the 11th position. Right behind him, Justin Fuller in the personal comfort Ford, the number 51. I suspect over time will just crawl his way forward. Behind them, Pedro Mojica running 13th, and Scott Simley in the 12th is following them. It has not been a good race early going here for Jose Gonzalez. We're used to seeing him up front, currently running in the 15th position, just kind of pacing himself. Not unusual for this racetrack to get a little single file fever, and that looks like where we're at right now.
Yeah, a little conveyor belt action here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And you look back here about mid-pack, and you see the Jose Gonzalez's, the Tommy Ryans, Pedro Mojica's back here, Josh Parker as well, Doyle Woods. These are all fast drivers about mid-pack, but it's not anything against those drivers in any stretch of the imagination. It's just we've got some super fast guys up towards the front. Daniel Falkingham, Adam Gill, and Brian Macklin, Trey Edson, Boris Cook, Kevin Brown, Trey Edson twice. He's just that good. But there's a lot of talent in this field. We can't stress that enough to the viewers at home tuning in on both Facebook and YouTube and Twitch here this evening. Great action here. You can see the battle right now for 6th on back. Kevin Brown in the 93 car, Chad Coleman, Kevin King, Byron Daly, all up there. Kevin Brown up and around. He gets into the 33 car, a couple of other cars involved, and that right there is an opportunity to see just what it's like to wreck at Bristol. Nowhere to go when you get 2 or 3 cars blocking off the interstate, as it were, and we get cars piling in here even after the caution flag waves. But caution flag number 2 here on lap number 45.
Yeah, that was pretty much a melee. You saw the incident start, and then everybody just piled in. Even drivers who saw it coming out of the corner still had to hammer on the brakes and try and get themselves slowed up, and just not going to be able to get themselves checked up in time. Quite a few drivers caught up in this one.
Yeah, you may ask yourself at home as we watch the replay here about half speed from the blimp fuse. Why don't you see the smoke? Why don't you just get hard on the brakes? Here at Bristol, there you see a little contact. Chad Coleman getting into the back of Kevin Brown just barely, just enough to get him on around, and that's where the calamity starts. But you can see coming around the corner, you can't really see too much going on there as the wreck happened up towards the wall. And as you hit the brakes here, it pretty much just carries the car right up to the wall. So really a lot of drivers doing their best to get through, and you can see there's a lot of drivers doing a great job getting woed up in time. Some drivers electing to get hard on the left-hand wheel to kind of get that car to spin itself out without any kind of damage, but they think better of it, and it's going to be tough seeing some of these drivers try to recover from that. But we are seeing pit stops. Looks like everybody except for Daniel Falkingham coming down pit road on the lead lap.
Adam Gilliland leads the charge with Macklin right behind him, Boris Cook. They're trying to find their pit stops, and in they go to their stalls. I would imagine it's 4 tires and fuel for everybody. As you know, we said 4 sets of tires, do the math, 50 laps. By the time we go back to green, it'll be lap 50, and it's a good time for them. But I have to believe Falkingham is thinking he's going to need those tires and use them to advantage later.
For sure, as we're watching the race off of pit road currently, and these drivers know, Daniel Falkingham potentially could be just saving those set of tires. We heard that was the plan for Dale Jr. when he came back to the Xfinity race this past Friday night at Bristol Motor Speedway. Had an extra set of tires down there in pit road, and ended up getting caught up in a wreck later on, and had a decent finish. But it's definitely something that's you're gonna have to keep an eye out for Daniel Falkingham. Potentially gonna be I don't want to say it's going to be a rough restart, because he is the king of the restarts up towards the front. But it is going to be interesting to see on old 50-lap tires what the 39 machine is able to do here on the restart.
Yeah, my sense is he's about to get taken to the shit. I can't imagine that car is going to perform really well. Now, the interesting part is right behind him is Mike Montesi. And Montesi, well, he's got fresh tires, just pitted a short bit ago, and he was coming through. I saw a 3 wide with him and the 43 of Doug Roth just a moment ago before that crash, and have to believe that Montesi might be in a good spot here.
Yeah, taking a look at timing and scoring, looks like he came down about 5 laps ago, and everything appears to look okay for the 45 car. Tommy Ryan up there as well, coming down 24 laps ago. So we do have a couple of takers up towards the front that elected to not come down pit road, and that's what you really want to see when you're the 39 car of Daniel Falkingham. You don't want to be the only driver that's out there on older tires. So he's got himself a little bit of a cushion as the pace car dips on down, makes that hard left-hand turn down pit road, and there's the restart of the century for the 39 car heading down into turn number 1. Already has about a 4 or 5 car length lead. The 37 car of Henderson coming off of pit road. There you see him, but single file for the front 2 anyway. Glenn Campbell moves up to 3rd, but he is trying to hold on from Adam Gill in there on the bottom side. Brian Macklin up in there as well. Boris Cook is in there. Kevin King slowly making his way up through the top 10, currently running in the 7th. But best restart you could possibly have there on 50-lap old tires for Daniel Falkingham. Looks like he's going to be able to hold on at least for a couple of laps, with Tommy Ryan now coming on in. Has a little bit fresher tires by about 20 to 25 laps. He's going to shoot down on the bottom side to try and get door-to-door. There you see door-to-door, side-to-side, up to the front bumper. But Daniel Falkingham on the straightaways comes back with just enough to make sure that he is up there holding on to that lead. But here comes Adam Gillen, going to try and make a trifecta up towards the front. He's bringing Brian Macklin with him. We got a 4-way dance for the lead. Three wide now, Tommy Ryan in the center. Daniel Falkingham up high. Those tires are shot. He's going to drop back 4, 5, 6 positions and he's going to get stuck now on the high side. The fresher tires making that bottom side work. He's going to slide on back. He's going to give the lead over to a battle here. Adam Gilliland finally gets around Tommy Ryan there in the 99. Coming into 3 and 4, he's going to bring Brian Macklin with him in that bottom side. It looks like Macklin in the 30 car making the magic happen. Give that lap to Adam Gilliland. The old Giller in the 81 car back up front. Tommy Ryan all the way up to the wall, putting a little scuff mark on that race car, but the black wall and the black paint seems to match itself out, so it doesn't look like it's going to scuff it up too bad. But don't look now, Kevin King has moved himself into the top 5.
Yeah, and the driver benefiting the most here is Tommy Ryan, as he also went in for pit tires a little bit earlier than everybody else. And, you know, in some respects, if those tires hold off, he's got good track position. And from a championship hunt, this is really what he needs to do. He needs to be up front and in the contest all night long.
And you can see right now these drivers up towards the front holding on to what they can. They know that Daniel Fockingham's struggling. He's all the way back to 9th place at this point, working the lap number 60 of 200. Chad Coleman in the 38 car getting by. They see Glenn Campbell in the 44. He's going to set his sights now on the back bumper or the inside corner panel there of the 39 car. And you can see just a little bit of a wiggle coming out of the 39. So he does have that extra set of pit tires down on pit road, Kevin, but I think he might be playing a little Monday morning quarterback after this one. Oh, caution flag comes out.
And now he's going to have the opportunity to take tires, which may change the game for him and stop the bleeding, but he'll have 10 lap fresher tires than everybody else.
100%. We're going to take a peek here. It looks like it may very well have been the number 2 car of Mike Kelly pointed in the wrong direction. Going to pull up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. We're going to focus in on this Eagle 1 number 2 car. Mike Kelly making it into the playoffs here. And you can see he's got that yellow banner above the windshield. Running up on the high side, here comes the 11 car. Everything looks a-okay there. Just 3 cars going for the same piece of real estate, and you can see the 11 car goes down the track, comes back up, and gets a quick swipe on the inside quarter panel there of Mike Kelly. Sends him on around. Doesn't look like anybody hit too big, so that's good news there. Going to be able to point the wheels in the right direction and continue on forward here at Bristol. Working lap number 3, caution. Working lap number 63. Caution number 3 on the racetrack.
And as expected, here comes Daniel Falkingham for 4 fresh tires and fuel. He's going to, well, he's all by himself, it looks like, but a good time to be down there. The problem with this strategy is going to have to use those tires to come back through the field. But if anybody can do it, I suspect that Daniel will be really fast on fresh tires.
For sure. Taking a quick peek here at timing and scoring. It looks like there are about a half a dozen cars or so down on pit road, but it's everybody further back than Daniel Falkingham. So it looks like we've got about 28 cars here on the lead lap at Bristol. Daniel Falkingham going to have to start in the back with those drivers that are coming down pit road currently. So going to be a tall order, but like you said, Kevin, with 10 lap fresher tires, I think the only guy, one of the guys in the field that could do that, definitely going to be that 39 of Daniel Falkingham.
So under caution here, lap 64, Gilliland your leader, Macklin, Cook, King. They are your top 4. Sitting right behind them, Tommy Ryan, then Trey Edson back into the top 10. 1/4 of the race through, and well, I don't know, Paul. When you start thinking about this racetrack, sometimes you wonder if it's too early to worry about track position. Cautions breed cautions. The key thing is survive. Survive, don't get caught up in these melees, don't wreck your car, and keep it clean enough. Get yourself to the top 10 for that last quarter.
And one of the things we heard from a lot of the drivers last week after the Richmond race was plan for pretty much anything. Have a backup plan. Have a backup plan for that plan. You can see Joey Katina leaving pit road, some front end damage on that number 14 car. Looks like he's barely going to be able to sneak out in front of the pace car, stay on the lead lap. He looks like he closed I consider it a closed pitch, but gonna have to restart at the longest line on that anyway. Line them up 2 by 2, and we heard a lot of the drivers talking last week about Richmond. They didn't expect that race to go green as long as it did. Only had 2 or 3 cautions in the 200 laps there at Richmond, and the drivers expecting more wrecks, more yellow flags, and more opportunities down pit road. But we saw a lot of drivers stretch it out to 40, 50, 60, even 70 lap runs on tires. And I got a feeling, Kevin, we might be seeing some of that here tonight.
Pace car pulls off, and you're right. We could get some long green flag runs if everybody settles in. Gilliland leads the charge down to turn number 1. Macklin slots in. It's side by side for that third position with King to the outside. He's going to have the momentum and nose ahead. Brian and Boris Cook. Here comes Edson following his fire trucks. And for the first time, we're going to see the 23 in the mix, followed by his friend, 51 of Justin Fuller. This should get rather interesting through this stint.
Now listen to these names, Kevin, and tell me if they sound familiar. Kevin King, Josh Parker, Justin Fuller, Tommy Ryan, Chad Coleman, David Comstock. These are all drivers we were talking about 10, 20 laps ago being in mid-pack on back, and they've all raced their way kind of up in a pack to this front group here. Adam Gill and Brian Macklin out front. Now Kevin King in third. So these drivers all throughout the field, very, very talented here in the Transervice Cup Series and all these series here at SIM500. It just goes to show you any given lap, at any given time, at any given racetrack, any of these drivers can be up in the top 5 and top 10.
And I'll tell you what, these drivers, they realize they got to get the opportunity they have in front of them with these fresh tires, and several of them making the run here as Fuller to the outside. You just see such a strong run on the outside, and it's so difficult to run on the bottom. The car wants to roll up in the corner to the outside of the fence, and you lose so much momentum if you're trapped down in that bottom line. And I think, Paul, it really does seem to wear that right front tire out a bit if you're squeezing the car down coming off the corner.
Yeah, the car naturally wants to drift up the racetrack with the high banking here. See if we can take an onboard look here. And this is onboard with Justin Fuller in the 51 car. And you can see just how heavy the banking is in these corners on both ends of the racetrack. Naturally, the car wants to kind of drift up towards the wall. That's inertia, I think. I don't know, I never really paid attention in physics class, but as the car goes down into the corner, it wants to kind of slide up towards that outside wall, but you're forcing it down to the bottom side because there's a car up there, just like we're seeing right now. Justin Fuller trying to get inside of Trey Edson. Not enough room there, not enough momentum, but the 51 still holding on to that 5th position.
Edson looks down low. He's going to see if there's anything down the bottom to get to King. I tell you, I ran this racetrack earlier this week, and on like the 8th lap, somebody drove across my nose, and you get so mad at the drivers in front of you. You just want all the racetrack you can have, and boy, it's frustrating to have a car in front of you and you can't get into the corner, you can't get off the corner. You just want to race, and so hard with other drivers around you, so tight. The racetrack's so narrow here.
Yeah, the cars themselves, they'll handle on pretty much any of the grooves, but it's really tough to kind of find yourself in traffic and trying to find where the car feels comfortable, because by the time you find somewhere where it's comfortable, it changes. The racetrack changes, the car itself changes, or even the drivers that you're looking around changes. So you can see Adam Gilliland still up towards the front. Daniel Flockingham led the first 30 laps or so back in 13th, but caution flag is going to come out here on lap number 80.
Caution out one more time on the racetrack as everybody's going to collect the caution car over there in turn number 2. We'll go to the Kong beer bong replay and see what's going on here to bring the caution out.
Rewinding the tapes, as it were, trying to see if we can find exactly where that incident was, and not seeing it right off the rip, so that's definitely good news. It means it wasn't a big wreck, but sifting on through the tapes here, not quite seeing what looks like it might actually be the 78 car pointed himself in the wrong direction. It's going to be James Dewar. We saw him a little bit earlier on here tonight, and it looks like he might have had just a skosh of help, but we'll take a look here. Kong Beer Bong instant replay, going to look at it. You can see the 11 car actually into the wall, comes across the racing groove. Everybody checks up just a bit. You can see Henderson hard on the binders there, the 37. Slows up the 78, gets him out hard on the binders, and Josh Williams' spotter apparently just didn't get the memo. Little bit of a nudge there to the back of the 78. Good news here is, though, Kevin, he didn't hit anything. Was able to get that thing woed up down onto the apron without hitting anything on the outside, inside, or any of the other competitors. So Couple car incident, but no big damage here for the 78 car, James Stewart.
Yeah, as soon as that car turns sideways on the racetrack and gets to a certain angle, they're going to throw the caution, especially here at this racetrack. Even if they're down on the apron, and that's going to reset the field here on lap number 81, working lap 82 as they cross the stripe. Gilliland out front. Seems a little too early here, Paul, to go to pit road and change those tires, given what the drivers did. I'm sure some will take the opportunity here, but I anticipate that the top 5 will stay the same here.
Yeah, we're seeing, looks like one car down pit road. A couple of the cars maybe further on back, gonna maybe take 2 tires, put some scuffs on, top the thing off with fuel. You want to save as many tires as you can for later on in the race, but it is definitely a good opportunity to potentially come down for fuel. You'll still have the same tires as the rest of the field. Maybe we'll get a long green flag run that we've seen over the past couple of weeks here on the short tracks, and kind of gamble just a little bit. Stay out a little bit longer on older tires, see where you end up, but currently it seems like everybody's about 36 laps in on their tires. Tommy Ryan working 60 laps since his last pit stop. Daniel Falkingham, those tires are pretty much evened out with everybody else. He came down about 20 laps ago, and he's back there in at the 12th position right now.
I don't want to say this and sound that way, but it's a bit refreshing not to see Falkingham out front after he's won the last 2 races at Richmond and Darlington. I'd just like to see him work a little harder for this. It's going to be interesting. Josh Parker right in that mix. He won the race at Daytona on August 22nd. And Chad Coleman, he's also having a good night after winning Michigan to get into the chase on August 16th. If I look at this Brown, he won Indy on August 9th. They're the most recent winners, and all of them would like to find their way back to victory lane here in Bristol and get into the next round.
Lights are off in the pace car. These drivers lined up 2 by 2 and wanting to be the first driver that's not Daniel Falkingham to win a race in this round and lock themselves into the round of 12 and move on to next week, get a little bit of momentum under the old belt there. To A, say that you won a race here in the Transervice Cup Series, but to B, win a race against Daniel Falkingham. 2 in a row here. Many wins throughout the season. Big restart there for Adam Gill. A little bit of tire spin, but he holds on to it. And back to green flag racing here on lap 86 here at Bristol Speedway.
He didn't get it cleanly that time from Macklin from the inside lane, yet he's going to drive off now and claim that position, working lap 87. 5 of Trey Edson inching his way forward, as we talked about earlier. He's made his way to 3rd position right now. Trey is good here. And here is Kevin King on the bottom line. We'll see if he can make that bottom line work, as the 29 is tussling there for the 4th, 5th position.
Hey, you can see Josh Parker in the 23 car gets away with the 4th spot. Justin Fuller slides in the 5th. Kevin King trying to hold on to that bottom side right now, but it doesn't seem like on these tires, 40 laps in, the car wants to hold on the bottom side. You can see almost 3 wide now in behind them. Boris Cook, Tommy Ryan, Pedro Mojica all within the grasp of the top 10 here. Daniel Falkingham now in the 10th position, trying to make his way up, but he's got a few cars in between him and the leaders here.
High side action for Ryan and the 58 of Pedro Mojica. If you're following the point championship battle, we'll update Mike Kelly, currently running in the 16th position. A little bit of damage sported on that number 2. The rear TV panel is off, but here at minimum, if the wheels are pointing in the right direction, the car generally performs pretty well. He's fighting with Richard Beasley right now, trying to take over that 15th position.
And you hit it right on the head there, Kevin. Damage does definitely matter throughout the racetrack, as it were, but here at Bristol, the short track, 5.5 miles or half a mile around the racetrack here, damage doesn't really do too much as far as a downforce or anything like that. It's going to affect the handling very obviously here, but the way these drivers drive and the way they get around the racetrack, they're able to kind of adapt and see how the car's working and make the car work for them. And we've seen that many times. But right now we're looking about single file for the top 10 or so.
As these drivers race, they're, I'm sure, aware of points and where the other drivers are. David Comstock comes into this 3 points down. He's currently running behind the number 26, Jose Gonzalez, who's in that top group. He's to the good, and Tommy Ryan is right with them. The driver that they're hunting is the 93 of Kevin Brown. And where is Brown? He is out of this thing. 48 laps. We missed that. The 93, a point championship runner. Brown was holding down that 12th position, and he's out. So my suspicion is Ryan or Comstock going to get the nod here.
And the race officials here in the SIM500 usually do a really good job about getting the points updated as soon as they get out of the race cars. And we'll try and take a peek to see who's going to move on to that round of 12. All the drivers and racers going to be at the racetrack next week, but it's going to go from 16 drivers down to 12 that are eligible for the series championship, and we'll get a little pre-race action at the start of next week's show. Try to talk to some of those drivers on the bottom part of the point standings and see who's going to make it in, who's going to try and kind of spoil the fun and win outside the championship. It's still Adam Gillen here as we cross halfway. Lap number 100 in the books. 100 down, 100 to go. Adam Gillen still out front. He's got a pretty comfortable lead right now over the 30 car, Brian Macklin.
Yeah, we got to back up the tape and look at this incident over here in turn number 2. I think it's turn 2. Jose Gonzalez gets into the 99 of Tommy Ryan. Comstock turns sideways. The 38 gets into the fence. Multiple cars, no caution, but quite a mix-up here as we get to halfway. Several of our point championship contenders having trouble over there in turn number 2.
Still clean and green. It looks like you can see Jose Gonzalez kind of on a racetrack by himself. Nobody in front, nobody in behind. Having himself a little bit of breathing room there. Chad Coleman all the way back in 25th now after potentially being involved in that incident. But we still stay clean and green. Race control missed getting us the memo on that one, I guess.
Yeah, correction on that. That was the entry to turn number 3 is the 38 of Chad Coleman had a piece of that. Doy Woods got a piece of it. And then Mike Kelly also got caught up in that. The 38, I thought, Chad Coleman, I thought he was going to get stuck on the end barriers over there, but he was able to grab a gear and drive away after losing multiple positions. He's back, in that 25th position right now in the 38.
We're seeing a couple of drivers here battle it out for 8th position. Brian Cook, Pedro Mojica, Jose Gonzalez a little bit further back. They're trying to get around Justin Fuller here. Fuller holding on to that top side, holding on to the 7th position. And with all these drivers rocking those yellow points championship banners above the windshield, being involved in that incident, it's a good opportunity for these drivers up in the top 10 to hold on to their spots. And it's an even better opportunity for Daniel Falkingham, who's now passing drivers like they're standing still. Just got up around Josh Parker in the 23 car. There he goes around Trey Edson like he's not even going forward. Slides himself up into the 3rd spot. I think the 15 or so fresher tires on that 39 car starting to wake that car up just a little bit.
Yeah, we have crossed halfway, and that car has come to life. Falkingham has driven through the field up to 3rd. Brian Macklin is his next target. There's racing everywhere on this racetrack. There's some crazy stuff going on here in the back of the pack.
Yeah, hearing out of the left headset here, a loud crash. So we're trying to cycle through the cameras. We're still clean and green, but I got a feeling that noise might have come from this pack here about the race for 10th. Doy Woods in the 07 car holding on to it. David Comstock right in behind him. Racing Tommy Ryan side by side with Richard Beasley trying to move himself up into the second half of the top 10. But great racing all the way around this racetrack. Everybody knowing each position worth precious points, and they're trying to get everything they possibly can here at the end of this round.
Gilliland comes off of turn 4. He's going to cross the stripe to complete lap 111, working lap 112. 2 cars side by side in front of him. Joey Jattina and he's contact with Jattina. He's sideways trying to save the car, comes back up the banking right in front of him, and that is going to allow the 30 of Macklin to get by, the 39 down underneath him, side by side. Close call for Adam Gilliland. That could have been a lot worse.
You can see 3 wide now, 4 seconds. The lap car, the number 3 holding on to the high side there. Jeff Ryan making it happen safely there, but they're still side by side for second. Adam Gillen trying to hold on. Daniel Falkingham trying to move closer and closer to the front. He's got the leader in sight. He's got second place in sight. But that leader, Brian Macklin, also has lap traffic in sight as well. You can see closing in on the back bumper of the 47 of Brantley Glazer. And you're going to start seeing this lap traffic play a factor into this front running couple of three cars.
Macklin out front by about 4 car lengths over the second place car, and you see Adam Gilliland getting the charge from Daniel Falkingham. Falkingham to the outside. He's going to pull alongside and drive off. Give the 39 of Daniel Falkingham second place. Now he's got one more car to get.
And you can see Joshua Williams down the next car, a threat to go a lap down to the leader currently, Brian Macklin. That's exactly what Daniel Falkingham wants to see. He's got a little bit fresher tires by about 15, 20 laps or so than pretty much everybody within the top 10. It looks like Doyle Woods has 20 lap tires. Everybody else working 70 laps or more on this current run of tires. And there's a little bit more fuel in that 39 car as well. That's going to be a little bit more weight. That car's probably going to handle just a little bit better than these drivers that came down 25 to 30 laps earlier. And you can see Joshua Williams not in the way, but caution flag comes out. Good news for both Joshua Williams. He's going to get the free pass, get himself back on the lead lap, and that's going to give all these drivers an opportunity, I think, to come down pit road, and I think that's going to kind of even it out just a bit. So we'll pull up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, find out why it is we're under caution here one more time under a lap or after lap 120, just shy of halfway or so here. And as we kind of sift through the tapes here, want to make mention, check out the Kong Beer Bongs, kong.twodrunk.net. Be the life of the party and make the good times better. Kong Beer Bong. They've got a buy 4, get 1 free, so it's an opportunity to maybe get some Christmas presents out of the way, quickly approaching the holiday season here, and a great opportunity to let your family know that you care about them and you want them to be the life of the party as well. And just sifting through the tapes, as it were, trying to find exactly where this caution flag has come out at. And the good news here, it doesn't seem like it's affected too many drivers, so that's good news here. So we're just going to switch on over and try and cover these pit stops because it appears, according to kind of timing and scoring, everybody coming down pit road. And there you can see the leaders, the 30 and the 39, coming down. And we made mention that 39 car, Daniel Falkingham, has that very first pit stop, so that's going to be huge here at these pit stops. Looks like Kevin King actually stayed out, may have actually driven through his pit stop, it looks like. We'll have to take a peek at that, see where it lines up on timing and scoring.
Yeah, Kevin has had a couple of incidents throughout the season, and he's just going to kick himself as see the race off of pit road. I missed who got that. Was it Falkingham that beat him?
It actually looks like Josh Williams. Nope, Josh Williams coming down pit road now, as is Kevin King. So it looks like Kevin King wanted to stay out and lead a lap. So it does look like Daniel Falkingham beat Brian Macklin, Adam Gilliland, Josh Parker, Pedro Mojica, and Justin Fuller the race off of pit road.
To say, Paul, that I don't know what's going on with the service tonight, but the distractions have been about the gremlins of my service. Things have been locking up and doing whatever, but trying to keep pace with this here tonight. It's been a funny round, hasn't it? Last week I got kicked out when the storm came through and knocked our service out, and it's just been a rough couple of weeks here for broadcasting.
Yeah, a couple of gremlins all the way around the Vidane HQ, and trying to work through them here as best we can. Seems like everything level now, so we won't press the issue too much here. But under caution once again, lap 123, crossing the stripe into lap number 124, and that's going to give the pace car driver the thumbs up. He's going to flip the switch on those strobe lights, turn those off, and let these drivers know we can get lined up 2 by 2 here. And this is going to get interesting, Kevin, because now we've got everybody up in everybody on the lead lap out here on the same tire strategy. Brantley Glacier stayed out that time, took the wave around. He's on 70-lap old tires, hoping for a quick caution to try and stay on the lead lap, but pace car's going to jump on down, make that hard left-hand turn to the safety of pit road and turn these drivers loose once again. They're going to do battle at the last great Coliseum. Brian Macklin out front. Daniel Falkingham doesn't, Brian Macklin gets a really loose restart there. Spins the tires down on the bottom side, hands the lead right on over to the 39 car, and holds up that high line just enough to get everybody to just go single file for about a split second.
Yeah, if you really want to get a good restart, you're going to grab second as you see Adam Gilliland completely sideways up off the corner. But you run the risk of spinning the tires. Most of the time when you have fresh tires, you don't have to worry about that. But it looks like Daniel Falkingham has pushed the reset button back out front here is trouble for Randy Yoakum down on the apron here, but he's able to drive through it.
Battle now for the lead. Brian Macklin wants to try and hold on to that front spot. Wants to get himself another win here in the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series. Under attack now on the very high side from Josh Parker in the number 23 car, making the magic happen up top, but now he's got a door full of Adam Gillen, who's going to peek in down low, try and take away that third position.
Caution out on the speedway, and just as soon as he's going to put that charge, there's a car sitting sideways over there. It's the 8 of, oh, wow, that was close as the 81 takes evasive action. Adam Gilliland almost creamed Randy Yoakum. I think they're going to review that one because rule number 1, I mean, I don't believe he wanted to lose time on the racetrack, Paul, but rule number 1, hold the brakes.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to take a look at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. Heading into turn number 1, you can see the 8 hot on the binders, gets the front, it looks like the front end actually digs into the racetrack just a little bit. Kind of loose all the way through 1 and 2, and as he comes off of 2, down onto the apron towards the inside pit wall. Can't tell if he's holding the brakes here, but slides on up into both of the racing grooves. Oh, close call for the 95 there of Joshua Williams. And you can see he gets that thing kind of held up there. And as the tries to go forward, goes backwards, and that's where there's some more cars. Oh, there is contact there with Gilliland. A little bit of bumper tag there, and little bumper car action to try and avoid the 8 car, but you're right, Kevin. That might be one of those things that makes it to the notebook after the race.
Yeah, you know, unlike the real car where you could look out the right window, depending on how these drivers have things set up, they may or may not know the leaders are coming, but I'm sure they'll have a discussion. As I saw a little contact by the 95 on pit road there, drivers trying to find their pit stalls. Such a difficult thing to do here at Bristol.
Yeah, especially with the 2 different entrances, and it really depends on how these leagues, private leagues, set the rules up and set the race up. Sometimes they'll use both entrances or both pit roads, as it were, and kind of connect the 2. It's really league preference, it seems like, whomever may be running the league or running the race itself. And a lot of times drivers might potentially get confused on that. So it's one of the things that they're going to have to pay attention to, and they have been paying attention to all throughout the race. But that's one of those mistakes you don't want to make here, especially coming up on the second, third or so of this race.
Yeah, it is important to understand which racetrack and the configuration you're using. Now, they are using a single pit lane, which means either under caution or under green. You've got to enter off of turn number 2. And, well, here we go again. We're going to hit the reset button. This time, you've got the 23 to the outside of Josh Parker. He would like to get a win. I think any of these guys clearly would like to have a win and keep Daniel Falkingham out of victory lane for this round.
Yeah, everybody wants to be the one driver that was able to spoil this clean sweep for that 39 driver in this first round of the championship playoffs. Falkingham knows he's already locked in. He's on his way to that round of 12. So he's kind of using this as almost as a test session, as it were.
I mean, Ryan Pitt going in to get some service. The back of that car damaged a little bit. These drivers probably can come in here and try their best, even though pit times are short because as fast as the cars cycle around to get some damage corrected. I see Tommy Ryan not taking tires, so I anticipate the crew is working on it. So is the 95. Now Tommy Ryan down and away, currently in the 24th position. So Ryan and Comstock are going to leapfrog Brown. Whoever finishes ahead of the other is going to be in. That's the thing they're going to look for as Ryan catches the back of the field. Green comes out. Daniel Falkingham leads into turn number 1. Great restart for the number 39.
And Josh Parker right in behind him, tucks in that second position. He's not going to stay there very long. Going to jump on up to the middle groove and try out that high groove once again for the 23 Interstate Batteries Bud Light car. He's going to try and get around Daniel Falkingham up on the high side, but just like the last green flag run, Adam Gill in there in third, trying to make something happen down on the bottom side of Josh Parker for second.
Trouble for the 8 one more time. Randy Yoakum around. Not sure if he had a little help there. We'll go to the beer bong replay. As one more time we go under caution here at Bristol.
And it's one of those caution breed cautions type deals here. A couple of drivers that have been involved in incidents throughout the night already, the 78 and the 8 of Randy Yoakum here most recently. We'll take a peek here coming off the corner side by side, and everything looks good as they cross the stripe, shooting on down here into turn number 1. See the 8 of Yoakum down on the bottom side, the 78 car of James Dewar on the high side, and everything looks good. We get up to turn number 2. Might have backed it up just a little bit, and you can see that was, We're going to call that a tire going down here, I think, on the 8 car, because that was a hard right-hand turn on a straightaway. So we'll call it a tire going down there on Randy Yoakum machine.
Yeah, it almost looked like a little bit of netcode. He just kind of came up. I don't believe he came up enough to warrant contact on that one. And well, I tell you, sometimes the bear eats you. You know that phrase? That definitely is a netcode issue. Sure, it looks like.
Yeah, 100%. And for the folks out there watching, not sure what netcode is, every one of these race cars that you're seeing on track right now is somebody racing at home on their home computer. And sometimes if they're having some sort of hardware issue or connection issue, you can see Joey Gattina going to take the wave around, get himself one of his laps back here in that 14 car. But everybody out here on their own connection, on their own computer, gaming computer, what have you, hooked up with the steering wheel pedals using the iRacing service. And every once in a while you'll get a hiccup in the connection, and the connection with all of these drivers is essentially telling the server where they think the car is going to be, and if it's in a different spot you might have a wreck without any kind of actual contact rather. And you'll hear a lot of drivers say, that was netcode. So it's one of those things, almost like an electrical failure, I guess, in a real race car.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see drivers who are in a specific zone, and it could be explaining my challenges tonight, have connection issues. Maybe that point where the East Coast passes through Virginia has issues, and you start seeing some of those problems. As you got to update the 99 of Tommy Ryan and Josh Williams again, coming in to get some service here on lap number 138, get their cars fixed. See Josh Williams' car, the back of that car looks a lot better. So does the 99. So Tommy Ryan taking the opportunity of these mid-race, late-race cautions to get his car tuned up to see if he can run up and beat everybody in and get himself a slot in the championship.
So the lights are still off on that iRacing pace car. Daniel Falkingham still out front. About 20-lap old tires, as does Josh Parker. Adam Gillen up in third. Brian Macklin fourth and Justin Fuller fifth. Edson Mojica, Gonzalez, Comstock, and Beasley the current top 10, and lining them up 2 by 2. Here we go again, getting ready to go green on lap number 142. Just shy of under 60 laps to go here at Bristol. The final race round to 16, trying to figure out who the 12 drivers are that are going on for the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series Championship here in the 2021 season.
One more time, the 99 and the 95 taking the opportunity to pit. They'll fall into the back of the field. Tommy Ryan currently running in that 25th position. Still on the lead lap. He's going to be the last car on that lead lap. You look up ahead of him, David Comstock having a better night, currently running in that 8th position, 9th position, correction on that. So I watched the race last night, and Tommy Ryan had a spectacular run, ran top 5, finished top 5. he could get the job done here. And now that we're back under green, we'll see if he can get it going as Falkingham crosses the line, leading Josh Parker.
Same old story out front. Daniel Falkingham up by a couple of car lengths over Josh Parker. Adam Gillen up in there as well. Brian Macklin is there in fourth, and Justin Fuller in the fifth position now, trying to make something happen. He's got a very strong car up on that high side. Looks like he's trying to get some momentum going underneath the old 51 power plant, but he's going to try and get around Brian Macklin here for the fourth spot.
Tell you what, the driver who has just been like Kevin Harvick consistent is Justin Fuller. It just has it going on. He's been up in that top five every week as Doy Woods. Big swing, catches the car. Slow car on the apron over there. Here comes Kevin King around it, 13th. Looking underneath the two of Mike Kelly, trying to get that position. Is good run right out in front of him for the washing machine. The tied ride of Richard Beasley in the top 10 here at Bristol.
We're going to have to bust on Richard Beasley because, well, Tim's on vacation this weekend. He's not here to run it. A couple of Tim's Corner Motorsports drivers. Put it down in your book. Lap number 147 at Bristol. Richard Beasley ahead of Kevin King. And it's been a couple of laps now. Look at that. 2 laps. How about that? Well, we kid because we care. But Kevin King in 11th. He's going to get door-to-door now with Richard Beasley. Try and break himself into the bottom side of that top 10 and work himself up towards the front, approaching 3/4 of the distance. Ooh, big wiggle there from the 10 of Richard Beasley. But 51 laps to go here. Kevin King's got the car, but does he have the time to get up towards the front?
Yeah, he's going to make the pass. Been in front for that second position. We had a challenge. Adam Gilliland pulls down underneath Parker. He was there a lap or two ago and just could not get it straight. He wiggles coming up off the corner. Slight contact with the left rear quarter panel of the 23. Didn't hit him hard enough to even move sideways, but Gilliland's cartway wobbled quite a bit. He just kept his foot in it, didn't drop, didn't allow Fuller to get to him. Out front, however, well, in control of the race, no surprise, Daniel Falkingham. He's led so many laps here tonight and looks unstoppable.
The old Giller weebled, he wobbled, and he didn't fall down. That right there is a testament to how good of a driver the 81 car is. He wrecked that car about 3 times on the straightaway, and by the time he got it sorted out when he got into coming out of turn number 4, still on the back bumper of Josh Parker. There you can see he's going to peak low and shoot on the outside, try and get up and around him. And the good news is it doesn't look like Fuller is closing in on the back bumper of these drivers just yet, but he's got a front row seat of this battle for second.
Yeah, and continue to be impressed with Brian Macklin. He's having a great run here tonight, sitting in that 5th position. And, you know, some of these drivers that are just kind of hanging off this lead group, not challenging, they're driving their line, could be saving their tires and have a little something for these guys towards the end.
And we've seen these drivers can go about 50, 60, 70 laps on tires. With 45 laps to go and 30 laps already on the tires, we're not going to have much tread on what's on the race cars. I do believe there's at least one more set down on pit road for most of these drivers. So it's going to be interesting. We may very well see some green flag pit stops if the caution flag doesn't come out here.
Updating the fate of the 99 Tommy Ryan, currently running in the 24th position. Right in front of him is his Fix the Car stablemate, the 95 of Josh Williams. For Williams, not a big deal. Comes in 3rd in points. He just needs to get to the finish line, and he's going to head automatically into the next round. But it looks like maybe that 99 not under power, as a 44 noses hard into the wall right in front of him.
Yeah, we were actually, camera was on board on that 44 car as he hit the wall there. Glenn Campbell, big time damage on the front end, but we'll back up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay and take a peek at what happened there. And it looks like there might have been a little bit of contact, but that's going to happen in the late stages of any Bristol race for sure. But the Kong Beer Bong instant replay focusing on that 44 car, the Transervice ride of Glenn Campbell, down low underneath the 97. It looks like they come up out of turn number 4. Little bit of contact there, not quite clear for Glenn Campbell. Comes across the nose on a 97 and sends himself up into the outside wall and holds the brakes up there, lets the drivers get on by, tries to sneak on by there on the outside. Potentially going to lose a lap here, but and a lot of damage there on the 44 car. So that's not the night he was looking for this evening.
So now an interesting development, 158 laps in, these drivers, almost everybody is probably going to go to pit road and get their final set of tires in anticipation of being able to run this final stint. We see feeding time at the zoo is 39, leads the parade around. They keep right tight to that wall. It is so complicated to make sure you do not speed on this. Hour.
Those connection gremlins working on the cables there over at the Kevin England compound, but a couple of drivers did elect to stay out here, and this is going to be interesting. 40 laps since these drivers have been on pit road. Trey Edson currently the leader. Richard Beasley running second. Bobby Wetzel in third. And E.J. O'Rourke, haven't mentioned his name all night in the 41 personal comfort ride. He's going to hold on to fourth right now. Daniel Falkingham going to be the first driver with 4 fresh tires off pit road. Pedro Mojica, he comes off right behind him with a 2-tire stop, and everybody in behind them takes 4 tires. Adam Gillen, Josh Parker, Justin Fuller, and Brian Macklin rounding out the top 10 after the pit stops here on lap at number 161. Less than 40 laps to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Top 4 drivers stayed out on track. This is going to get interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether the strategy that Falkingham showed a little bit earlier paid off with 10-lap fresher tires by waiting is going to be something that Trey Edson can parlay later, but I have to imagine that most of these drivers have made their last run to pit road.
Yeah, some of these drivers may very well have another set of tires down there on pit road, but I think with 40 laps to go, I don't think we're going to see anybody else come down and take tires. And the front 4 drivers making the gamble that they want to. Looks like Trey Edson's going to try and take the outside line here on the restart. Going to put Richard Beasley down low, but I think these drivers have kind of made their bed, and they're going to have to lay in it at this point. With less than 40 laps to go, the lights are off on the pace car. We're getting ready to go green.
This is where the anticipation just kills you. You look at these drivers up front, looking to see if they can steal a win. Richard Beasley, that would be amazing to put his season together and get himself a win. Running second, it is possible, Paul, that you could have caution after caution after caution, and these guys could be able to hold their track position. As the 5 squirts away, he's going to get a good restart and lead by 2 car lengths going into turn number 1. Beasley settles into second. O'Rourke to the outside, contact for the 9. And it is the 39 hard into the inside wall. Daniel Falkingham comes to a rest down there as melee behind him. Multiple drivers crash. Falkingham looking for a spot where he could slot back in, but we're under caution as soon as yellow comes out.
Yeah, there were actually a couple of incidences there that happened separately. Well, one happened up front. It looks like the one that kind of happened on mid-pack or so kind of calamitied up the racetrack. Kind of a tangly situation. We'll throw that up to Mike James. One of his. I don't know if it's a made-up word. I think it's just a Canadian word. But we'll take a look once again here at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. We're going to look at the restart from the blimp in the slow motion, and we're going to try and focus in on everybody, because it looks like a lot of these drivers involved in the mayhem. There you see the initial contact up front with Gillen and the 23 car of Josh Parker. Gonzalez does a great job going on down. There you see Mike Kelly getting by, Comstock getting by. The 47 is there as well. Then there's another incident between with Brian Macklin couldn't buy luck if it was on sale this year. Getting involved in that, and there you can see big time calamity here on the backstretch. Lots and lots and lots of damaged race cars. You see Randy Yoakum involved again. Joey Gattina, Doug Roth skates on by the 3 of Ryan. And I want to back this up one more time and take a look to see what happened to Brian Macklin. And we're going to take a look here again on the restart. All of these incidences happened right on the same straightaway. So you'll see the contact here initially between Josh Parker and that personal comfort ride down low. And that's going to be going on down into turn number 1. They get almost 3 wide here. There's the contact. They spin sideways. It looks like everything's good to go, and just right back up into Macklin. And that's a tough hit. That 30 car's done for tonight. Another big hit with the 8 car coming on in. Frustrating night for the driver of the number 30. So now just a little bit better than 30 laps to go, 33 if we're being exact, 32 as we cross the stripe. Trey Edson out front, E.J. O'Rourke out in second, Richard Beasley in third. He's going to restart down on the bottom side of that front row. Pedro Mojica, who just came down pit road, he's got fresh tires in the 58 car. He's in fourth. Bobby Wetzel, the other driver, still holding on to those 50 lap or so old tires. Kevin King up in sixth. Justin Fuller, Jose Gonzalez, Doy Woods, and David Comstock rounding out the top 10. Daniel Falkingham, big-time damage in that wreck, all the way back in 20th. Currently still down on pit road trying to get that thing repaired. But with 30 laps to go here, Kevin, business is about to pick up, and we're on the next chapter, it looks like. Going to have a new winner here in this round. Still some connection issues for Kevin. It may very well still be storming over there in New Jersey, but there you see Trey Edson down low. He's going to take the bottom side this time. E.J. O'Rourke up on the high side. Haven't mentioned his name very much at all throughout the evening here tonight. He's going to restart outside that front row. Richard Beasley down low. Pedro Mojica up on the high side. Bobby Wetzel and Kevin King there looming. Kevin King missing the hood on that race car in that number 29 ride. You can see still up in the top 10. We made mention damaged race cars don't really affect you too much here, but taking the green flag here on lap number 169. Nice. There's the restart. Trey Edson up by a couple of car lengths. 41 spins the tires just a little bit, but that opens the door for Richard Beasley, now moving himself back into that second spot. Oh, contact between the second and third place drivers. Kevin King's going to jump on down low. Chalk it up one more time. Lap 170. Richard Beasley out front of Kevin King under green flag conditions. Great to see it, but holding on to the top five with those older tires. And you can see, looks like caution flag out one more time. A couple of cars in the back not able to hold on, go in the right direction, trying to see. Looks like the 3-car of Jeff Ryan pointed off the pace here, I should say. Easy enough for me to say. So we'll take another look here at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, as it were. And we're going to focus in on that 3-car right in behind Tommy Ryan there in the 99. Big damage on the front of that car as well. The 3 comes into the corner. Everything looks good. And there's contact out in front of him. The 19 was a round of Tyler Dalton. You can see he's got some damage as well. And it looks like there was little contact between he and the 47 car. Tries to correct it. Overcorrects it. Shoots it up into the outside wall. And Jeff Ryan just trying to avoid the incident there, but he shoots down low, he grabs a gear, and everybody smokes on by, it looks like.
I'll tell you, Paul, we're trying to get the hamsters to keep running on the wheel over here. It's not worth losing the battle.
Yeah, trying to get everything worked out. There we go. So we're going to get the restart here with about 25, maybe 24 laps to go. Trey Edson out front, E.J. O'Rourke. Both of those drivers have on 50-lap old tires. They just drove by the entrance pit lane. They're not coming. They've already made up their mind. They want to come out here and try and win this race and move themselves, guarantee themselves into the top 12 at this point. Pedro Mojica in third. He's got the freshest tires in the top 10. Came down 14 laps ago. Richard Beasley in fourth and Kevin King in the top 5. Justin Fuller, Jose Gonzalez, David Comstock, Doy Woods, and Josh Williams rounding out the top 10. And Kevin, you made mention Josh Williams pretty solidly in third place in the points right now. Very consistent all season, especially when the playoffs started.
Yeah, and for some of these drivers, they had this race circled. They knew that they were not going to be able to dodge some of the mayhem. They wanted to get themselves solidly into the points, and it continues to be Comstock, Tommy Ryan, and now it's take the gloves off, throw the punches.
And we've seen cautions, breed cautions here in the late going of this one, and 25 laps to go, 4 drivers or so up in the top 5 with old tires, everybody else fresh tires, and a bunch of drivers towards the back of the pack coming down, electing to come down and get their last set of tires on pit road. So we might see some of the drivers try and come on up through the field here, seeing Josh Parker was down on pit road. Lots of damage on that 23 car as well, though. So that's gonna be interesting to watch. Daniel Falkingham all the way back in 16th after that incident just a few laps to go. So he has a long way to go. Still on the lead lap, and odds are here at Bristol, if you're on the lead lap, you still have the potential to win the race. But it's a long way to go and a short time to get there. Going to get the restart, it looks like, with 23 laps to go. Lights are off in the iRacing pace car. Trey Edson going to take that bottom side. E.J. O'Rourke going to hold on to the top. Pedro Mojica, Richard Beasley, Kevin King, the top 5.
You know, we can't count out that the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke is one of these chase drivers. If he can get himself a win, he's going to bump somebody out here. Currently sitting in second. I like the strategy. Go for broke.
Yeah, at this point, we know we're going to get ourselves, we have a really good feeling we're going to get ourselves a new winner in this round. And we'll get the points to you as soon as we get them. But there's the restart for Trey Edson, out like a rocket, 3 or 4 car lengths over the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke. O'Rourke going to slide into the second spot. The battle right now for third. Pedro Mojica holding on to the bottom side. Up top, Richard Beasley. He's trying to hang on with old tires, but here come the fresher tires, especially with that 51 of Justin Fuller. Here he comes up the middle.
If we do get a chance to talk to Kevin King, I bet he's going to tell us that he would prefer to have been to the outside, that 10 car, making the best he can. How about the run for Pedro Mojica right now?
Looking really strong in that 58 car, currently in third, trying to get himself into second. You can see he's got the momentum there on the bottom side, and he's got fresher tires than both the third place driver, E.J. O'Rourke, and the leader of Trey Edson. So he's going to try and make that happen. He's got 20 laps to do it. We'll see how those tires heat up and how they come up with everybody else.
Edson out front, Mojica in second, O'Rourke in third. O'Rourke needs to turn the wick up. He's got to get himself a win here to advance to the next round.
And you can see his personal comfort teammate, Justin Fuller, jumping on down low on the bottom side. Right behind them, Kevin King, Richard Beasley side by side. Jose Gonzalez up there in the mix as well. Leaders driven away by about a half a second almost. Trey Edson doing a great job holding on to it on those older tires. Pedro Mojica doing his best to try and close in, and he's got a gaggle in behind them, battling it out for this podium spot.
I mean, Ryan, currently in that 18th position, his light is flickering a little bit right now. He needs to figure out how he can get himself up. Or maybe he's going to hope for trouble.
Late race caution's always something to keep in mind here at Bristol. Potential is always there, and that's something Trey Edson really wants to see right now. Working 62 laps on those tires, trying to hold on to the lead on the outside, but Pedro Mojica just came down pit road. Caution flag is going to out. You can almost hear the sigh of relief out of the number 5 cam.
This is that strategy we talked about earlier. Maybe these cautions will let these guys run these laps with older tires, hold the track position, as maybe trouble for the 10 will take us to the Kong Beer Bong replay.
Yeah, and we're going to take a look, pulling it up right now, and we're going to focus in. A lot of red and black cars in this one, but we're going to take a look here. Back about mid-pack or so, the 22 involved. More damage for the 8, 99 of Ryan, and Josh Parker involved. AC Henderson involved as well. Just a slew of race cars here on the straightaway. We'll try and back that up, show you one more time. It looks like the 22 car initially may have been why we came out under caution here. We'll see if we can back that up. Nelson Rivera in the 5G Verizon car. A little bit of hiccup in coverage there, but take one more look at it. Here you can see right in behind Mike Kelly. And going into turn 1, everything looks good. There's the contact. The 26 gets into the back of the 10 car, spins him on around, and everybody else in behind there tries to avoid the situation. Some drivers doing a little bit better than others, but that's a tough break for Beasley. Going to drop him back to 16.
Yeah, that's Bristol. It gives and it takes away. Poor Beasley just can't get a break. Was in the hunt for a win, and now he's going to take on his 4 tires and give it a try. He's going to come back into the fight.
And Trey Edson doing a phenomenal job. 65 laps since he's come down for tires, and everybody else about less than half of that distance. 27 laps on the tires for Pedro Mojica in second. Justin Fuller in third. Kevin King, Doy Woods now in the top 5. E.J. O'Rourke hanging on to 6. He's on that same 65-lap stretch and made mention under the last caution, not coming down. Bed has made, decisions have been made. We're going to stay out and try and get the best potential finish we can get on these old tires. This caution exactly what that 5 crew needed.
Some of these cars look like modifieds, as we expect when we get to the end of this race. We're going to be at 10 to go here. Can Edson hold them off? And will Fuller or any of those drivers back there in that top 5 who are hungry for a win to get their way, some way, to get themselves a victory here tonight?
Win and you're in for the championship playoffs here in the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series. 12 laps to go. Kevin, you made mention we got going to get the restart here with about 10 laps to go. I don't think we're done wrecking yet. I think we've got 1 or 2 more in us, and we've got the green-white checkers in our back pocket if we need them. You can see Josh Parker and Henderson out front waiting for the wave by there. When we get 1 to go, they're going to rejoin the tail end of the field. But looking like a couple of modifieds, like you made mention. A couple of drivers, so a lot of drivers throughout the field. Lots and lots of damage. You can see the third-place driver, Kevin King, missing the hood on that race car. So it's going to be interesting to see what these final laps, final 10 laps or so, bring to the table.
Yeah, every restart, Kevin King's been trapped to the bottom. This time he's going to restart in 4th in that outside lane. You have to wonder if he's going to be able to parlay that to jump up there and possibly get to 2nd and challenge for the win. He's just been looking for that track position that he needs, and he might get it here as Edson is going to see the pace car turn left and bring us back to green with 10 laps to go.
Another phenomenal restart by the 5 of Trey Edson, gone by 2 or 3 car lengths, 3, 4, or 5 car lengths as he heads on down into turn number 1. The battle now going to be for 2nd on back. Pedro Mujica down there, 30-lap tires, as is Kevin King. Pretty much everybody now on the same tire strategy except for that 5 car, and everybody's trying to chase him down here as we go into 1 and 2.
You have to wonder if the King car has a power problem, as he just didn't get a good restart, but he could have also, slipped the tires a little bit. Mujica looks low on your leader, trying to get there. See if he can get to the door and execute the pass. It's going to be difficult to make that pass from the bottom. The question is, will he use the chrome horn?
Going to shoot down low. Got a little bit of momentum to get up beside him. You can see side by side as they cross the stripe. Give the lap to Trey Edson. That time by Pedro Mujica, not going to give up, though. He's got 7 laps, 6.5 laps now to try and make it happen on that bottom side. All in all, while this is going on, Kevin King, contact between the leaders as the caution comes out. Don't know where that's going to stack Pedro Mujica up, because it looks like the caution was for another incident on the racetrack, and that's gonna be huge as we approach 5 laps to go here.
If we go back to the Kong Beer Bong replay, it looks like possibly problems for Bobby Wetzel, but you're right. We'll have to see whether the track scoring loop will give Mujica his position back.
So there's the initial contact that brought out the caution. Doug Roth, Bobby Wetzel, Joey Gattina. The caution is out here, and we'll back this up once again. It looks like Pedro Mujica he is going to get that spot back, it looks like. Taking a look at timing and scoring here. But we'll give this to you in slow motion, and you can see the 5 car, Trey Edson, holding on to the lead, trying to see where the lights are around the outside of the pace track. See if we can do this like they do on the big time Cup Series. There you can see the flag man already waving the flag. There you go. How about that? If it ain't TV,
Yeah.
we did
Nice
the thing. Great shot by our camera crew. But there you can see caution flag already out. So technically that wreck happened under caution. Pedro Mujica is in fact
holding on
going
with
to get
older
that spot.
tires.
Yeah, holding on with older tires and a little bit of damage in the 58, but he's going to do the best that he can with it. But great camera work there with the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. This is going to set up the first green-white checkered.
Yeah, and I have to, I am almost reticent to talk about it. David Comstock doing what he needs to do, sitting in that 7th position, just doing whatever he can. Tommy Ryan was right in the mix for that incident, back in the 15th position. We continue to update these two because they are in the point mix from what we can see. Brown is out. Gonzalez, he's currently in the 8th position. Macklin still having a strong enough run. Actually, Brian Macklin is out. I'm sorry, I missed that. In the 28th position. I'm not sure how many points Macklin was to the good there. I'm going to have to pull up the score sheet. Only a handful.
So definitely going to be a big points night as we pull it up. Sim500.com. You can get all the points and updates. Tommy Ryan was out by 2 points. Kevin Brown is out of the race, so he's going to be dropping back, as is Brian Macklin. He was only a couple of points, like you made mention, single digits there. Chad Coleman was in 9th, and he was having a good run. We'll have to take a peek and see where Chad's running here. But 12th on back. So good solid run for Coleman. Trey Edson, the current leader, he's in 7th. He's tied with Byron Daly. Daly having a rough go of it here tonight. Tommy Ryan, David Comstock, EJ O'Rourke, and Mike Kelly, the top 16. Trying to get themselves into the top 12, and I think it's going to be closer than what we're looking at on the website there, Kevin.
Yeah, Macklin's currently scored in the 28th position, and I have to imagine that he was only about 7 or 8 points if I were at the cut.
So we'll see where these drivers will stack up in the points after the race. We're going to talk to a lot of these drivers during a pre-race show next Monday night here on Vidane TV. But we've got a green-white checkered in hand, and the lights are off in the iRacing pace car. Lined up 2 by 2 all the way through. Trey Edson's going to take the top side, try and hold on for dear life on 76 lap tires, while Pedro Mojica is down low. Justin Fuller, Kevin King is there. There's the restart that the 5 car needed. Green flag in the air, side by side for second.
Justin Fuller side by side with Pedro Mojica. He's going to clear him, give him that second position. EJ O'Rourke drops into 4th, King in 5th. Here comes Fuller. Will he use the bumper to try and get it? White flag in the air. It is Trey Edson out in front as they come off turn 2 for the last time. Down the back straightaway into turn 3. Clean racetrack for the 5. He's going to get a good run off turn 4. Trey Edson going to win here tonight at Bristol.
As they wreck across the line, we're stacking them up. Everybody piling into turn number 5, but a great run there for Trey Edson. Holding on old tires when to make the magic happen. He's going to guarantee himself a spot in the round of 12, and did it the hard way. Did it with a win here at Bristol on a Monday night here at SIM500's Transervice Cup Series. There you can see the unofficial results on your screen. Trey Edson, Justin Fuller, Pedro Mojica coming home in the top 3. Kevin King in 4th. EJ O'Rourke 5th. Doy Woods, Jose Gonzalez, Daniel Falkingham, David Comstock, and Mike Kelly rounding out the top 10.
Celebratory donuts on the front straightaway. As well, we know some of the drivers made it through, but we're just going to have to wait and see where the points stack up. We don't want to call this the incorrect way, but you got to give credit to the 5. He was in the top 5 all night long, Paul. He got himself the victory here.
Yep, a little bit of strategy towards the end, getting on out there with old tires. The cautions fell, easy enough for me to say, where they needed to, and the 5 car going to go on down to victory lane, and that is definitely a spot to be in, especially as we get closer and closer to this championship hunt. But we're going to catch up now. It looks like the second place driver just peeling the helmet off, Justin Fuller, in that 51 personal comfort ride. Great race, great podium finish here towards the end.
Hang on a second. Can you repeat that? I had to mute everything.
No worries, man. Great run. You came home, brought that personal comfort ride home in second here at Bristol. Eventful final quarter of the race. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, it was honestly, that was a pretty good Bristol race, I think, for what we usually have. Fairly clean, lots of decent green flag racing. So pretty happy about that. We're going to transfer on to the next round with that finish as well. So I do love this track. It's a lot of fun. And, P2, we'll take it. We haven't had a podium here in quite a while.
Definitely, and it's great to talk to you up here. Want to give you the opportunity to thank anybody that might be watching at home, friends, family, sponsors, teammates, all that good stuff. I want to give you the microphone and let us know who makes it happen for the Virtual 51 team.
Yeah, I want to thank Trey at the end of the race there for helping me out on that restart. It's good to have really good teammates to help out. Some people may not like that too much, but, those teams do it too. So it is what it is. And, it's a team effort all in all, even on a short track. Thank everybody for watching back home. Thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. I know my dad, I think my dad watched anyway. I'm pretty sure he did. Send a shout out to him. Send a shout out to Scott Stenzel, Personal Comfort, better price. They got pillows, sheets, beds. If you're in the market for any of that kind of stuff, check them out at personalcomfort.com. And we're looking forward to, I think we go to Vegas next week, and that's one of my best tracks. I think I've won 2 or 3 of the last Vegas Cup races here at SIM500. So Looking forward to that, and hopefully carrying this momentum on into the next round.
Absolutely. You took the next question out of my mouth. Off to Vegas next week to kick off the round of 12. The 51 car locked in, and he's got the better betting odds there at Las Vegas next week. We'll see you next Monday night and potentially talk to you here in the post-race show.
Yes, sir, Paul. Thank you very much. Have a good week.
Congratulations on a good run.
Thank you.
Slide it on over. Kevin down there in victory lane with Trey Edson, the 5 car, coming home with the victory here tonight.
Well, Trey, you played the strategy absolutely perfect, and you find yourself in victory lane again here tonight. Locked yourself into the next round. You were there anyway, but that's got to feel satisfying.
Yeah, it's been a really rough year. Kind of both wins. I mean, I went Rockingham, pulled that out of a hat, and kind of did the same tonight. But once I ran like 5th to 7th all race long, and I had like a 9-point cushion, and that's kind of on the bubble. You didn't really want to come out here and tear the thing up. So once I got some good stage points, and then a lot of guys had exited the race, I felt pretty safe as far as advancing. So I was like, if the top 5 or however many were in front of me, if they stayed, I was pitting. If they pitted, I was staying. So just was gonna roll the dice. You get kind of, it's kind of the same at Martinsville. You kind of get inside 30 or 40 laps to go, and you start getting restarts and tons of them. And it worked out. I know there was me and Fuller were working together there. There's a lot of mad people, but I'm sure if they had teammates that would work with them and they were in the same position, they would do the same.
Yeah, Matt is equal. That's how you spell Bristol, is M-A-D. A second win on the season. It's been since April, and we head to Las Vegas next week, which is pretty similar to Phoenix, where you won earlier. And it seems like you got Big Mo going on your side here, is coming away from the win here at Bristol.
I don't know how close that would be to Phoenix. Maybe shapes, but as far as how it drives, no, we're in the throttle and we got dirty air, so it's I don't know. I usually run okay at Vegas, not my best, but with this package, we should be on top of each other quite a bit, I would assume, after restarts and stuff. So it could be kind of wild. Just try not to start the next round out with a dig yourself a hole or something crazy. So that'll probably be the main goal. And then there's probably 3 or 4 dudes in this league that just have raw speed. So you really just kind of put yourself in position and not do anything stupid and race smart and just try to be there and pull something out like tonight. So that's how I'll approach the next round. It's kind of how I raced last year. Once I got past the first round or two, I kind of just went in full offense at the end of the race, like aggressive on restarts and then aggressive tire strategies. So that's how, as we go here, hopefully we can keep moving forward. But that's kind of how I'll go about it when we get there.
Yeah, you had some drivers with fresher tires behind you, but the cautions helped you to protect it, and that was a great strategy tonight. Did you guys plan that or just luck into it?
It was spur of the moment, and it was pure luck. I don't know if I would have held Pedro off if it stayed green. He had a lot. His advantage was mainly like entry to center, so I was just driving off into the corner as far as I could, hoping he wasn't going to pull a slide job. So. And then Fuller, he wanted me. I was like, I'll work with you on this restart, but you better not rope the hell out of me. Like, at least if you're gonna wreck me, at least make it like all 4 coming to the checkered or something. So, it just it was all luck, but I'll take
as a driver, I get a chuckle out of that. I'm sure every other driver who hears that's going to know what you mean by that. They're right there with you, and yeah. Good
well,
call.
Fuller, he's pretty aggressive. So once he smells a checkered flag, it's gloves off. So I was like, well, he had asked me to pick his lane like a few times, and I was like, no, kind of got to do what's best for me. And right there, I was like, I'll work with you, but you don't touch my car. That's pretty much kind of what we agreed to.
Well, there you go. Tell us who helps you get it done here for the number 5 team.
Just thanks all my teammates, Adam and Fuller and EJ and Macklin and everybody else that hangs out on our team speak. I got a good buddy named Zach. He watches every week, and I don't think I've ever thanked him in my interviews. So appreciate his support. And on-site gas, that's Mike Montesi, the 45 car. He's the sponsor on the quarter panels. So thanks to him and all the admins, Joey and Dalton, and all the guys that do all the stuff behind the scenes to keep the league going. So appreciate them. And I think you said we go to Vegas, so hopefully we can do all right there, and I'll get to talk to you next week.
There you go. Your winner tonight, Trey Edson, comes away with the victory here at Bristol Motor Speedway. We're going to turn to our third place finisher, Pedro Mojica. Pedro, exciting race tonight, was it not?
Yeah, it was for myself in a good way. Yeah, coming into Bristol, not really one of my best tracks, especially, speed-wise. I just couldn't figure out what these guys were doing in qualifying, so I thought it was going to be a long race. But once the race started going and started rolling the bottom, I don't know what I was doing different compared to other people, but I was able to roll the bottom pretty good during the race, and I was slowly and methodically making my way up. Even after that speeding penalty that I got, I was still able to move up, methodically, running the bottom consistently and getting around guys as they got tight up top. So, there at the end, kind of like what Trey was saying, I did a little bit different strategy. I knew I wasn't going to win where I was at, but I did want tires, so I went for 2 tires. It actually worked out pretty well. I was able to maintain a track position. Honestly, there was the one run there where me and Trey were battling for the lead. I really wish that went green, really all the way, because I was slowly creeping up on Trey on the bottom. Unfortunately, the caution came out at the wrong time and just set it up where it was a lot of short sprints, and had a little bit of a sweat there. Me and him got together off at 4, and sled for days, tapped the inside wall, but that happened after the yellow came out, so I was fortunate to keep my positions. And then
that had to be a pucker moment for you for sure. And we've watched you race all season. You led the point championship early on, and you had a string of top 10s in the spring, early summer. Then you had a little bit of a dry spell, but lately it seems like you're coming on. If we could take Watkins Glen and Indy out, you're 7th, 6th, 3rd, 7th, 3rd. I mean, all knocking in that top 10, trying to get yourself another win before the season closes out.
Yeah, for sure. Summer was tough. Just nothing that I did. There's probably 2 or 3 races I could have won, and I either got wrecked going for the lead, or strategy didn't work out, or whatever. Just a ton of bad luck. Pretty much all the good luck I had the first quarter of the season or first third of the season, I lost it in the summer. Just being caught up in messes that were not of my doing, which was pretty frustrating. Because it just kind of made me question the way I drove and some of the people, how they drove against me. Because it's like, I kind of looked in the mirror and was like, would I have done that? No. So it kind of, I had to kind of reset, refocus, kind of think about those deals, and I think right now I don't have the pressure that the playoffs on me, unfortunately due to schedules with work and whatnot, but that takes the pressure off me, so I can go out and be more aggressive. I don't have anything to lose. These guys have a lot to lose, so it's kind of
the racing clean. You can hammer down for the rest of the season and get it done, right?
Yeah, for sure. So Richmond was racing real hard with a lot of people. Bristol running real hard again. But yeah, we did pretty well at Bristol. Raced really hard with Trey and Fuller there at the end. Kind of knew I was screwed on that final restart when all those guys were together as a team. But I pretty much expected it. I did the best I could to manage it, and we came home with a 3rd at Bristol, which, hey, can't complain. Like I said, it's my worst track, I'd have to say, and to be as competitive as I was and to finish 3rd and be up there for the win, I'll take it, and we'll move on to Vegas.
Yep, fan favorite, Pedro Mojica. Who helps you get it done there, Pedro?
Yeah, I have to think Tap Out Tuning. They've been on the car all year, and V Performance Academy. Um, they've been great supporters for the year through the ups and downs. Uh, the guy who paid the bills, Michael Sharp. I appreciate him and everything he's done. So he's been super supportive throughout the year, and pretty much the silent cheerleader is what I'll call him. But yeah, I appreciate him giving me the opportunity to race on Monday nights and do this for fun. Thank Transervice for sponsoring this Cup Series and what they do. Trey Edson, who painted the car, he paints great cars, man. So congrats to him on winning, and thanks to him for painting awesome cars. Joey and all the admins at SIM500 for what they do, putting this series on and letting us race. You see a lot of leagues where
Sure.
there's a lot of rules, a lot of things in place, a lot of people trying to control what's going on, and I think that's kind of one of the cool things about SIM500 is, Joey lets the game kind of decide all that stuff. So it's pretty much like running an official race, for the most part, with minor admin changes here and there, but
Yeah, it's a thankless job for sure, isn't it?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which that's good, and they get to enjoy racing with us, so that's cool. And then finally, you guys at Vidane for putting this on, man. I appreciate you guys doing that. Hope the fans had a good time watching the race, and we'll see you guys next time.
There you are, a guy who always has a smile on his face. Thanks for stopping by, Pedro, and great job on your podium finish. So we turn back to Paul down in the control booth. Paul? Boy, I'm so frustrated at my connection in and out, but we still, for the bits and pieces I saw an amazing race. And unofficially, of looking at the points, have you looked those over and see where things stood?
That I have taken a look now. SIM500, Joey Gattina and company, they're always doing a great job getting everything updated. We already knew Daniel Falkingham, Kevin King, already locked in pretty well. They're moving on to the next round. Adam Gilliland, Trey Edson, Josh Parker, the top 5. Chad Coleman holds on. He actually moves up a couple of spots to tied for 6th, it looks like. Justin Fuller, Brian Macklin, Tommy Ryan, Josh Williams, David Comstock, and Jose Gonzalez going to be the 12 drivers that we're going to be keeping an eye on in the round of 12 starting next week at Las Vegas. We're putting these short tracks behind us and getting back on the 1.5 mile and bigger cookie cutter tracks. Talladega's in there, and then we've got the Charlotte Roval as race number 3 in that round. So that's we're going to call that the Kyle Larson round. A little bit of different racing styles throughout the next 3 races in the round of 12. Going to be entertaining. You're going to catch it here right here next Monday, the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series. But before we get there, Wednesday night, little doubleheader action. Tim's Corner Motorsports brings us Tim's Corner live. Right after that, the Loose Lugs Cup Series at 9:05 Eastern. They're chasing down their championship, as well as the Multi-League Cup Series. They're getting close to their playoffs, getting wrapped up, and they're moving on, actually following the same schedule here as the SIM500 crowd. And there you can see the NEP iRacing Shift Grand Marshal, Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series, the winners of the longest race series title here on Verdane TV. They're going to be coming back in less than a month's time, a couple of weeks now. October 5th, they're kicking off season number 3 at Daytona, and we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up here on Verdane TV in the next few months here in the fall and winter season. But that's going to wrap it up here for tonight. The Transervice Cup Series from Sim500 race at Bristol in the books. We know which 12 drivers are going to move on to the next round, kicking it off at Las Vegas next week. For everybody at Sim500, Transervice Services, Verdane TV, I am Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. alongside Kevin England up here in the booth. We'll catch you on the flip side. When we do, we're going to be doing it live.